and welcome to our Sacred Wisdom with Connecting Consciousness podcast. Today, Chris and I are joined by two of our regular guests, Grandmother Mulara and Sue Cimino. Welcome back to both of you, and we have missed you. A big welcome to all our viewers as well. For those who are not CC members, Connecting Consciousness is a worldwide spiritual organisation connecting many like-minded souls across the world. It's free to join, and you can learn more and join by visiting connectingconsciousness.org. Over to Chris.
Thank you, Becky. Welcome back, Grandmother Mulara and Sue. It's great to have you back with us. So welcome to all of our viewers. And we're in the first month of a new year. And so we thought talking about intentions would be a good place to start today. I wanted to share a couple of quotes I found on the intention to get us going. I thought were really wise. So the first one is from author Alan Cohen, and he says, "When your intention is clear, so is the way." And the Chinese monk Xing Yan said, "Intention is the core of all conscious life. Conscious intention colors and moves everything." I really like that one too. And so I wanted to hand to Grandmother Mulara to start with any thoughts you may have on the intention.
Thank you. Well, intention is so important. Whenever we hold ceremony, we always have to cleanse ourselves. And in the cleansing, whether it be over the fire or with you cleansing yourself with sage or however you do it, but it is really important that we cleanse before we actually go, before we're coming into ceremony. And part of that cleansing is our intention. So we set a positive intention for ceremony, because what happens in ceremony is that it will amplify your intention. So if you don't cleanse and you've got any kind of not sure, or this may not work, or you're second guessing yourself and it's backwards, well, guess what? That's going to get amplified. So whenever we hold ceremony, we always cleanse and we always set a good intention for what it is we want to step into the ceremony circle for. And we do the same if you were going into a sacred site. We would cleanse ourselves, because we don't want to take anything into the sacred site that ought not to be there. We want to leave the world behind us, all of that, wherever we're catching, wherever we're going, leave that behind. And when you go into a sacred site, that you're clean and clear, and with the intention of being reverent and clear and cleansed. And the same for when you come out. We would cleanse ourselves on the way out as well, so that we don't take anything out of the site that ought not to be taken out energetically. Right. So it's important that we leave what should be stay in the sacred site. So the intention then as we leave is for all that needs to stay in that place, stay there and not be leaked out, and the reverse, of course. So yeah, that's what comes up for me when you talk about intention, because the saying goes, another saying, where your thoughts go, energy flows. So you would have heard of that. So whatever you're thinking, what you're intending will actually manifest, and it gets amplified if it's in a ceremonial way. That too?
Yeah, thank you, Grandmother Mulara. That's a great start. And over to Sue. What are your thoughts on intention?
Well, I love what Grandmother Mulara said, and I sort of like the idea of little mini ceremonies, like a little mini clearing. What I do personally, and what I recommend to people is, in fact, I give away a little morning audio that just reminds you I am in alignment with my divine self. I'm willing to receive grace. I'm willing to have health and miracles. I am willing, like, not it's okay. It's like, that's my will. I'm willing for these things, but it's a way of setting intentions prior to all that you do. My favorite, and I must say it 100 times a day, I only want what's in full alignment with my divine self. And that is setting a clear intention, boundary, drawing the line so that other stuff can't encroach. Like, that's the first thing. If I start feeling an ickiness, it's like, no, only what's in full alignment. Anything else has no right here. And so it's sort of like a little mini cleaning or a little mini resetting of intention. But rather than, even like, a lot of people think about intentions as something to start in the new year, but I carry that intention with me every single day. Whenever I think about it, whenever my awareness goes, oh, when I listen to somebody that's leading a meditation, when I or am watching any of the intel or whatever, I only want what, only what's in full alignment. Otherwise, don't fill my field. Don't, stick on me. Just, because it just saves a lot of trouble trying to clear things later. So that's where I go with intention.
Thank you, Sue and Grandmother Mulara. So I wanted to touch on Grandmother Mulara. You had said something about second guessing yourself and how that gets amplified with intentions. And then a little later, you went to where your thoughts go and energy flows. So I wanted to bring up that topic because, gosh, I used to second guess myself all the time. And so it's something that I've really focused on. And I'm way better at it because I tend to catch myself. Because when you think about those two topics together, when you second guess yourself and you start thinking, okay, I want this. Do I really want that? So, am I worthy of this? Can I afford this? do I really want something else? Then, like, what you're putting out into the universe and what you're attracting back, it's just kind of confusion when that happens. And so I try to catch myself and ask clear questions, when I'm aligned with my divine self and my guides, like, is this right for me or something? And then if I just listen and I just get a simple answer, then I go with that answer and try and push all that other noise aside. And so I don't know if anyone else has thoughts on that, but that really struck me.
Well, I love that you bring that up, because for me, the idea of saying in alignment with my divine self is taking my little personal, like all of us have ideas of how we think things should unfold for us or what we think is in our best interest. But in many, many cases, maybe most, what we believe is best isn't really as in alignment or for our greatest good or taking us the way that that we came in here with that soul agreement to go this way. And so I want to go this way. It's like, well, me going only what's in alignment is like not picking on my personal, I want this, but saying, no, I want a bigger alignment with a larger me and see where it takes me. And I find that has enabled me to bypass all sorts of little holes I would fall into or side paths that would take me off the track, and just keeps me going in the right direction. So anyway, I love that. Thank you, Chris.
I'd like to add that it elevates you into what you just said then, Sue. It elevates you into that higher consciousness and therefore a higher realm of possibilities.
Perfect.
That's all.
Perfect.
And I was going to say, to me, it seems that to start thinking about setting intentions, we need to clear a bit of space so that you have the intention to have clear space to think about what it is, you know, that you would like to draw in, or would you like to do next in life. And also obviously thinking about whether it's something that's service to all, or service to others, or service to self, or, you know, or for positive or for negative, and really be mindful about what it is that you are setting an intention for, because you can set intentions for anything. So you have to be clear about whether you want it to be really positive intentions and what your path is. So you have to be sort of clear in your heart. And I guess this is where you will want to line up all your energy bodies, the physical, emotional, mental and spiritual, so that everything is in alignment, as Sue was saying. And then you have a better attunement to what it is you perhaps should be drawing in, rather than what it is you want.
That's perfect, what you just said. I love it. And I was thinking about, in fact, I was talking about it yesterday, the service to self and service to others, and really thinking about that, because service to self is you're trying to service to self is you're trying to fill something in you that's not full. You're trying to get something, whether it's love, whether it's money, whether it's attention, whatever it is. It's like you're trying to gain at someone else's expense. Or even if you just stop at it, you're trying to gain. Yet when you align yourself, give yourself that space, go to a deeper connected place, you fill with grace and with connection and with knowing. And then you don't need to gain. It's like you're overflowing. And that's where service to others becomes a natural expression of you connected and in alignment. I mean, it's a beautiful thing, and it's quite natural and quite automatic. It's why, if you think about it, the spiritual people are the ones that are more service to others. And we have an old, there's a lot of old teaching that being self-centered, like you're supposed to be self-deprecating, or not focus on yourself, or give to others but not take care of yourself. And that's an old way. It's not really service to others, even though it looks like it, because you're trying to fill something inside. You're trying to make yourself worthy in some way. So you're still lacking. You're still trying to get your worthiness by that service. Whereas when you just fill with the divine and fill with your true self and your true purpose, you just flow over and give, because it's your nature, because it's easy. You're not trying to fix anything. So I just think it's important for people to remember, just trying to help others without having taken the time to give yourself the space you're talking about, Becky, the space to get clear. It's, in a way, it's like the cleaning Grandmother Mulara is talking about. You need to give yourself that space so you can move from a deeper connected place.
Thank you. So, and then I wanted to go back to this idea of opening up space, because I think another great topic for the new year is tying up loose ends and completing projects. And actually, this is a great opportunity, because I wanted to bring this topic up on the podcast ever since Grandmother Mulara and I had a very wonderful personal session. And I feel like I'm sharing all my issues this morning, but that's okay. So I tend to be I'll call it a dabbler. I like to work on a variety of different things at the same time. And so there's nothing wrong with that. But when working with Grandmother Mulara, she talked about the energy associated with unfinished projects and unfinished tasks, and gave me a wonderful suggestion, which I took, and it felt really good. So, Grandmother Mulara, would you like to share that?
I can't remember individuals that I'm working with, whatever comes up, but I'm sure what I can tune into is how important it is to complete energetically, to complete the things that we've started. If we don't, it's a bit like what Becky was saying, we need to clean up. If you want a true intention to come to reality, it's in your heart's desire and with grace, you really need to clean your stuff up. So it could be things, but I'm really talking about what's hanging in the air that hasn't been completed, what's holding you back. And if you could put an intention in to finish it, or to complete it, to put time aside to actually make it, clear it up, so that you can then set a new intention, like the next level of consciousness, and set that with all of your energy bodies in alignment. And that's really possible if you've got a clean environment in which you're working from. It could be at home, it could be work, it could be even in your car. You can set an intention in the car and I do this whenever I'm traveling, particularly on planes. I'll set an intention around the plane, send it that, we're all safe, and I put white light around it. So we're working with energy. And the whole point of having an intention is to clear the path ahead for where you're going, taking that step, and for what it is that you want to come towards you. Otherwise, things are in the way.
I love that, Grandmother Mulara, and it reminds me that, if we don't do this ourselves, then the universe tends to do it for us. And that's when we say, when one door closes, another one opens. We do have situations in life where we feel that we're on the right path and we want it to go a certain way, and then a door seems to slam shut, like for whatever reason, a relationship ends, or you lose your job, or whatever it is, something big can stop you in your tracks in one way, but then it gives you the space to then think, what do I want to do next? Where do I want to go now? Do I want to be in another relationship soon? Do I want to have, what kind of job do I want to have? Did I really love the job I had, or would I like to do something different? So again, when physical things happen to us, it can clear a space, whether we wanted it or not, for us to then think about, where should we go now? What shall I do next?
And having that clear space is almost scary, like having been a project person myself and having a lot of unfinished things. It's like, okay, when you clear them all, then you have empty space. And there's, for some of us, not everybody out there probably, but for some of us, there's a real aversion to that space, and that, okay, what do I do with this now? What do I fill this with now? I'm not anywhere near like I have been in decades ago, but do I still have stuff I need to? Yeah, I do. And I'm like this, I'm writing little notes down here. Okay, I know what else I need to take care of. Because that idea of dropping all those loose threads so they're not dragging on you is like, what a great idea going into the new year. Because we're such creative beings, and we're moving into more of our own awareness of the power and the creative energy that we carry. That's why I love Connecting Consciousness, because, in our local groups, it's like we're talking about what can we bring to the world to make a huge difference. And do I want to bring all those loose ends? No, that was almost filler, because the first thing that pops into my head is because of a powerlessness to make a difference in the world. But we're not powerless. We're discovering our power and the effects of our creativity, where we focus and, the energy goes. So it's a perfect time to clear up the loose ends and open up space, even if we don't know what it's open for yet. That's sort of the excitement as it unfolds. I'm glad you brought that subject up, Chris.
Oh, I love that, Sue. And it reminds me also that tied in with the quotes that Chris said at the beginning, is that to create, our future, we need to have the clear intention. And if you're sending off all different messages in all different directions, then life can be quite murky and tricky, and you get pulled in all different directions. But if you have that clear intention, then you will be creating that pathway. And I can think of numerous times in my life where a very powerful intention to do something just cut through everything else, against all odds. So I know that it can happen, and I know that to be the way. And I think that if everybody who, any of our listeners who are sitting here and listening to this conversation, if you can think back to a time in your life where you just had a strong intention, how did that shape your future? What became of it? Because I think that this is how when you have a fork in the road and you have the intention, you can really go off in a new direction and create the big things in life, but also the small things around you as well.
And what's interesting is it usually doesn't take that long once you make the decision. Like, how many of you have not done all those things around the house until just before you're going to sell it, and so you paint and you fix and you go, why didn't I do this for me? I'm catching up on my accounting for all of last year. I didn't do all my bank statements and everything else. And so when I finally put my mind to it, it's like, well, that doesn't take that long. Like, why did I keep putting that off? Go ahead, Grandmother Mulara.
It doesn't give you joy. So can I bring in affirmations here? Because what Becky just said reminded me, a way to help for people to think, won't happen. If you have an affirmation that is something that you can plant your mind onto, put your thoughts onto, and the affirmation is what you want it to be, even if it's not yet. And I have found affirmations to be really powerful because they help you to set your intention. And it's putting that energy in there, and put the affirmation on the fridge, on the bathroom mirror, on your wardrobe, and you say it every time you see it. And it actually does have a physical effect and a spiritual effect. It brings that to you.
I love that. And I'm just thinking, when we talk about New Year's resolutions, a resolution is something that's very powerful, isn't it? It's a resolve. I'm going to do this. And I know I'm one. I don't set myself resolutions because I know that they're often big things and you set up yourself up to fail. And then you start the new year feeling like, you're a failure to start off with. But if you set off the new year whenever, every single day with affirmations, that's far more positive, I think. It's more easily achievable, and it's baby steps in the right direction with a nice, open-hearted, positive feeling. But a resolution is a bit like, I've got to do my bank accounts, I've got to clean the house, I've got to do something, and then the joy is out of it.
Yeah, affirmations feel better too. You're absolutely right, Becky. And I wrote a blog on resolutions years ago and I did some research, and it's like, it's 80 or 90% of people break their resolutions by February. And I think that's it. Like, it's these great, big, huge things. And it's like, I have to do this, I have to do that. Whereas in affirmations, something like, I move through life, I'm thinking of Sue, with ease and grace, or whatever that may look like that just feels different. It feels good. It feels like in the flow. And to Grandmother Mulara's point, energetically, like, wow, that just feels very, very different. And I wanted to just Oh, go ahead, Sue.
Well, because I just wanted to add this, because when you're using the affirmations, if you have things within you that are working against the affirmation, like subconscious stuff, it will start coming into your awareness. And don't ignore those. If you're saying, oh, this is, and this starts coming up, don't ignore it. Go, hey, what is this? What do I need to do with it? You'll get clear direction to resolve that, so it stops getting in the way of what your intention is. Sorry, I just wanted to throw that in there, because the affirmations bring the opportunity to deal with some things that we still carry that is working to the opposite. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah. And thank you, Sue. I just wanted to go back and add one more thing to, and Grandmother Mulara, sorry for putting on the spot with the whole tying up loose ends, but I did want to share what you had told me in our session, because it was very, very helpful, and it may be helpful to people who are listening in. So with regard to, I probably had like 100 open projects that I talk like, okay, well, I'll get to this one sometime, to that one. And what you shared was either finish it, get rid of it, or you can park it. And so I took a whole bunch of things and parked them. And I do have to say, like, it felt like this energetic lift that was like kind of cleaning of my, digital space, of my folders and everything. And I still kept what I wanted to keep that I may wish to work on at some point in time, but it really, it was very cleansing and amazing just taking that step. So I wanted to put that out there, and thank you for that.
It shows that we carry a lot of stuff with us that we don't even realize, that we forget. We walk through life and we sort of pick up so much stuff, never mind like entities and stuff, but just all the things that we create, all the things that we do. And you're absolutely right. If we could just see all the things around us that we've all the balls that we're juggling, and then just say, do I really have to juggle 100 balls? What if I just juggle 2 or 3? Wouldn't that be more easier? You can keep the balls, just put them somewhere for another time, or give them away, or whatever. But no, that's exactly right. It's a kind of spring cleaning. I think, we talk about spring cleaning is because that's more of the start of the new year. And I heard somewhere, I think from an astrological point of view, that the new year really starts at the beginning of spring. So I guess for the Northern Hemisphere, it's 21st of March or something like that. And that's a much more positive time to be setting affirmations and intentions. I mean, obviously we can do it every day, but it's a time when the whole energy of the earth in the Northern Hemisphere really rises, and we all feel more energized and all feel more uplifted with the joys of spring. And we do the spring cleaning and the sun comes out more. But while we're going through midwinter, which is essentially what the beginning of January is, everything, especially here in Britain, I mean, today's a sunny day, and that's a change. That's lovely. But we've had just so much rain. I mean, the city that I live in, about a third of it is underwater. 3 of the big car parks are underwater. All anywhere where you can walk your dogs is underwater. A lot of properties are underwater where lucky ours isn't. And that happens at least once a year, usually in January and February. Sometimes happens more often. And that's not the time to be sort of setting up, doing the spring cleaning and positive affirmations and just all systems go, because midwinter is when you're hunkering down, when you need to rest, when you need to nurture yourself a bit more, and when you need to look at nutrition and rest and health and warmth and that sort of thing, and just keeping going through the winter. It's more survival. It's more withdrawing back to basic needs and so on, rather than shooting up with great energy it's interesting how we have this imposed new year for the Northern Hemisphere, which is at a time of usually withdrawal and reflection.
Does it feel to you like the winter then is a time that allowing more space to be and to ponder and to contemplate? Does that?
Yes, but not under the system that we have, not in the matrix, not with, you know, you got to work, you know, 9 to 5, whatever it is, where there's a constant stress of work. I'm not saying for me, but I'm saying for general people, that the system that we have, the matrix that we have, is that overrides. And even, you know, the holidays, Christmas holidays and so on, that's actually a time when most people are laid low with either flu or colds or whatever it is. They're not feeling great, but our mothers have to create magical feasts and decorate the house and ensure everybody is cared for, nurtured, given lots of lovely presents, and then see them through. So, you know what I mean? It's just, instead of being a real time of rest, it becomes a time of far greater increased stress, I think, for people who are creating the festivals for their families, people who are having to buy the presents. I'm just sort of going back to Christmas now, but it's a time of the year where, yes, we're supposed to be going into a lull. And yes, in the old days, say 2,000 to 3,000 years ago, for example, before Christ was born, when in Britain there was a pagan midwinter festival, the idea was that in the darkest of days, there'd be a time when fires would be lit, everything that was stored would be, you'd have your food as a feast, a celebration. It'd be time for gathering and celebrating and just being alive and, you know, and happy, and that at that time. But then, you know, you go into a period then of withdrawal and survival, and just getting through the darker days of end of December, January and February, until spring starts to come in. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I've always thought of winter as a time where you actually put the seed in the ground. I know that spring is like things come out of the ground. So it's somewhere along the line, we've got to put it in the ground. So I've always thought of winter as a time where you can actually put some seeds in the ground. So energetically, to think about maybe some intention. What's this seed intent? What am I intending with this that I'm going to plant here in the dark? So that when it starts to germinate, it starts to get more energy, more life, more legs. And of course, over here, we have the sunniest time at this time of year, but no less the seasonal understanding of how the seasons impact on us and how we can work with them. So the winter plant the seed, in the summer we're harvesting.
I totally hear you. From a seed planting point of view, I mean, from a spiritual point of view, I think it's a brilliant idea. From a physical point of view, here in the UK, generally, it depends on some crops. You can plant your seeds over winter, but mostly, it starts, you sort of more like furrowing the ground in January and sort of digging any kind of fertilizer, and then you're letting that, it's often frozen with ice, not always, but often, and then you plant the seeds that you might have germinated inside out into the ground in sort of April, May, when you're not going to get any more, hopefully not going to get any more frosts. And you do that sort of very carefully. But I hear you from a spiritual point of view. And I think, of course, the whole, when you actually physically plant seeds, it really depends on the climate. But for a lot of us, midwinter can be really dark and really gloomy. Sorry to be negative.
I once did my outdoor leadership course in Alaska, and spent 3 months in the wilderness of Alaska. And of course, the sun was always up. And then I stayed and did some travel and and then the sun started going down. And like it takes half the year for it to decide to get back up again. So that when it's up, it's up. And came across people having cabin fever, what they call cabin fever, you know, really hard winters and permafrost and very difficult. So we can always think that there's always some place or something else that might be worse than the situation we're in. How do we make the most of what we're in? And so I would say for those who are hunkering down and in the midwinter depths of winter, to actually, this is a really quite a good time, you know, put the doona over your head, whatever, that sort of feeling of, okay, what is it I really want to create for myself in this next season, which is for the spring and to harvest in the summer. You know, what is it that I it's actually a really great time to set some intentions, to really, and clear the deck or park them, as Chris said. I'd forgotten about that. Parking them, you know, so you don't feel overwhelmed by everything you've got to do or all of the things you had. If you do park it, you're creating that space to just give yourself a time to go within and feel really strongly, feel deeply, like the depth of winter, what it is that's sitting there in the core of your being that's yet to be planted, yet to therefore germinate. What's sitting there? It's a really good time.
I love that. I really do. And I completely agree. And also there's the other thing as well that we forget, because we carry things on from one day to the next is the fact that every new day is the start of the rest of your life. And you know, that is so true. We can think, what do I really not want to carry with me today? What do I want to focus on today? You know, this is my life. How can I live it to the best of my ability? What can I do that is perhaps creative, that gives me great joy? What can I do that is helpful? You know, there's always something every day. You can think of something new as a little project, as a daily thing, not something that you've got to then carry on forever, but just as a daily thing. So there's lots of different ways of looking at this.
One thing that what Grandmother Mulara said that really struck me, you know, I like the idea of pulling under the doona and what are you creating? But when we think about setting intentions for the life that we want, we don't have to think of specifics. You know, people tend to go, oh, okay, what's that going to look like? What, you know, how am I going to make that happen? It's like setting a goal. No, it's like, what's the quality of what you want? You know, you don't need to decide, is this job right or wrong? Choose, I want to work in a way that is nurturing and fulfilling, and I feel like I'm contributing. Like, give the qualities, even if you don't know how it's going to play out, because then you're starting to call in and you'll start being given, you know, things will come around for you to recognize, oh, look, here's another opportunity. And I'm talking whether it's relationship, whether it's your health, whether it's your work, your housing situation, whatever. You may not know how to get to the new house, but you know what you want in the house. You know, like, what you're looking for, what you're trying to create, and just allowing that to begin to germinate without giving it specifics does put energy in that and does start the sprouts, you know, coming up that you can, oh, look, there's a possibility, there's an opportunity. So it is like planting seeds, but not out in the ground.
Thank you, Sue. And, you know, I think putting out intentions without all the details, I think that's probably better anyhow, because we all have ideas of, this ties back to what you were saying before, Sue. We all have ideas of how we want things to work out, and very rarely is that exactly how things, you know, come to fruition. So putting out, like, okay, here's my deep desire without all the details of exactly how it's supposed to play out is probably better anyhow. I know in my life, very rarely does, when I get my mind fixed on, okay, here's exactly how it's going to work. Like, that's just not how it works. So thank you for that. And then I wanted to go back to what Becky said about it, every day is a new beginning, because I think that's so powerful. Like, every day, and really every moment, every breath, it can be a completely new beginning for us. I think sometimes, though, where we get caught up is it's a new beginning if you let go of what happened before, right? And that's something that definitely takes discipline and but letting go, either, you know, forgiving, acknowledging that you learned something from whatever it is, what happened, and then just letting it go. And then it really is, each moment, each new day is a new opportunity and a new beginning. And I think, like, for me, when I can get my mind around that and really, really do that, it's wonderful, because we all go through times that are difficult, and you can have like something very difficult that occurs and have the intention that you're letting go, and that now here's what your intention is for this new day or this new moment or this new season, whatever it is. Very powerful.
I love that, Chris. I completely agree, because sometimes when we set intentions, we think, oh, you know, I don't know, perhaps people might think more material things, but when you're talking about the emotional side of it, there is so much. We carry the emotional baggage, and we do need to have the intention to let some things go, and perhaps to heal them as well. You can sort of let them go and say, I just don't need that anymore. That's not for my highest good. I don't have to hold on to that hurt, that anger, that negativity. And then as part of that, you have the intention to heal yourself from that and move forwards with love and grace. And this is something that Sue said right at the beginning. If you're fully aligned with your higher self, then you are in alignment with love and grace and joy, and that fills you automatically. And it does, from a spiritual point of view, you get nourished instantly from that. It's just that we forget how to do that, and we go through life not consciously connected to that. But if we can live our life consciously connected to that, to our higher self, to God, source, creator, whatever we want to call this, to the love and inner nourishment that also can provide us with all the answers, then we will move through life with grace and with joy, and that will attract more of the things that we need to keep us going through life.
I love that, Becky. That was beautifully expressed. And I just want to say to people, you know, we sometimes beat ourselves up because we're not staying in alignment, or we're not. And I feel like humanity is moving through, which our vibrational reality is changing, and we're going through a major transition, and we're a bit like toddlers, you know. And so toddlers learning to walk, you know, we raise our frequency, and then we crash down, and we raise our frequency. It's like we're learning how to surf new energies. We're learning how to, oh, that feels good, that's grace. Clunk, I got to pay my bills, I got to worry about, you know. And we're learning how to tell where we are energetically, and we can feel the difference. We like it here, we don't like it here. Okay, so what were you thinking? How were you approaching? What were you doing? And so I want to just encourage people, don't beat yourself up when you crash. Just go, oh, I see. I thought this, or I had this fear, or I had this old programming that I believed for a minute, you know, or I have those old emotional hurts that I haven't released yet, you know. And so watch as you're surfing, because we're all just learning how to, you know, we didn't beat ourselves up as a toddler when we fell down. We just got up again and laughed and tried again. And you know, we got really good at it, and then we started, you know, running all over the place. We're going through that process, so be kind with yourself. And enjoy, you know, realize it's part of the journey, and have fun with it, not make it a right and wrong, or a good or bad. Make it just like, this is what we're going through. We're learning how to move and raise our frequency and become expressive divine beings, creating a world that works for everyone. Like, we are in such an exciting time. But I'm so inspired. You're not wrapping up yet, but I'm going to just say this. I am so inspired with the whole idea of creating space and clearing out the loose ends. Now, I know that, but I'm inspired anew because of the time, because of what's going on. I'm like, wow, perfect timing. I'm going to get on it. I may do my spring cleaning a little early, but that's okay.
For those of us in the Southern Hemisphere who are experiencing a glorious summer, I live in the Sunshine State of Australia, so we have it, the sun. Look, what I would say is, from an intention point of view, you set your horizon. It's easier to see the horizon when you're not in the cloudy, snow and sleet and cold weather, and you don't want to be outside. It's easier in the summer, to see, maybe look for the horizon, and the intention that you set for yourself is equally, rather than kind of, getting onto the details and the nitty gritty. Okay, I'm going to set myself. This is the horizon I'm working towards, and I think that will help for those who are sort of struggling with. I'm not sure about today. I'm not sure what seed I can plant today or tomorrow. So set yourself the horizon. That as an intention for your energy to flow to, and it comes closer towards you, consequently.
Love that.
Chris, did you want to add any more to this?
I don't think so. That's very beautiful. It kind of feels like a good wrap to this discussion.
Yeah, I'd agree. I really loved connecting with Grandmother Mulara and Sue again. It feels almost like coming home. We have all the different styles of podcasts, but when we have Grandmother Mulara and Sue, for me, it's like a kind of a relaxing and grounding moment. And I just really enjoyed reconnecting, and I love the knowledge and wisdom, and I feel like I've learnt a lot, with Sue. I think, there's plenty that I could be doing to sort of clear out, make a bit of space, and then set some more intentions. And it's interesting how seasons do affect how we feel, but they shouldn't stop us from wanting to make a new start every day, so if things don't look too good, if things don't feel too good, then take a moment, whether it's over a cup of tea or a walk in nature or whatever, wherever, take a moment and think about what's holding you back, where you would like to go, what you would like to see manifest in your life, and how are you going to take the baby steps or even bigger steps to get there. Now's as good a time as any. So thank you all.
Yeah, and you could have a ceremony with yourself. It doesn't have to be a big thing. Just having a ceremony with yourself, clearing yourself, cleaning yourself, just letting the divine come in and connect all of your energy bodies and see what comes in for you. But having a ceremony with yourself every day, is at least once a week, it would be a really wonderful way to set an energetic intention.
I love that. I want a ceremony with myself and my dooner. My down comforter for those in the Northern Hemisphere that's never been down in the other places. But I want a ceremony with my dooner looking for my horizon. I love that. So.
Okay. Well, that's beautiful. A beautiful note to end. Thank you, Grandmother Mulara and Sue, for joining us again. And thank you for all those who are watching our podcast.